All right, we are live. Hey everybody, Jim Gonzalez here. It's another Wednesday here in Pennsylvania. It's nice and sunny out, but it's cold. I'm got Kurt joining me today, which is a great thing because I'm tired of talking to screens all by myself and just reading comments. So, Kurt, I'll let you explain who you are, what you're doing, what's going on.
All right. Hi everybody, how you doing? Perry, I'm a senior EDI developer. I've been doing EDI for about 8 or 9 years now. So I've been in a few different industries, medical, retail, and most recently in the logistics side of things. So that's what my most previous and prior experience is at. And I've been through the data analytics from mapping, the onboarding, the trade, and all the good stuff until the implementation of ERPs and onboarding and trading partners. So um,
Awesome,
getting my
awesome.
knowledge put together.
Exactly. As I always say to people, and you know this, Kurt, like we can only speak from our own experience. We can only speak from what we've done, what we see, what's going on, questions that come in, emails, those type of things that come through us as individuals. And a lot of people think, oh, well, what about this? What don't you know about this? And it's like, listen, I can only talk about what I see. I'm not going to talk about stuff that I read about.
Yeah, it's so
Uh,
much that you can. It's because I feel like EDI is a niche market itself that it's been around for so long, and not that many people know about it. So then we start talking about one thing, and like, well, what's this? And it goes to this, and it's like just the rabbit hole we speak. You can go down a lot of rabbit holes in this field.
Yeah, no, and that's truly what it is. So, our topic for today is we're going to be addressing the resistance to technology in transportation and logistics industry. So, one of the first things that, of course, we'll talk about is why would a small trucking company with 5 to 10 truck drivers not care about EDI, ERP, or any other technologies? So, a lot of people don't realize that 95% of all trucking outfits out there are really the mom and pops. Like, and I'm saying there's a lot of money invested in those companies and those trucking companies, but they're typically like 20 trucks or less.
Man.
There's somebody that maybe drove a cab for a long
Hmm.
time for a big operation, found their own little niche, and said, "Hey, you know what? I can do this myself. I got some money saved up. I'm going to buy my own truck, and I'm going to start driving, and I'm going to find my own routes, and all of those things." So, there are a lot of organizations that they're small. It's a truck driver, been driving for like 10 years, 20 years, and just thinking about those things. And there's cost considerations that they have to put into place. They typically could care less about technology. They're just like, hey, listen, I'm just gearing on my truck, making sure my truck can
Yeah.
drive. I got to keep it clean, keep it washed, and now all of a sudden I'm getting hit up by these different companies that I've been carrying loads for, and they're saying, "Hey, do you do EDI? And if you don't do EDI, we're going to stop doing business with you
Yeah.
because we have to do these things." Well, they got to start thinking about what's the cost of bringing that EDI on. What does that mean? There's lack of resources for these small trucking companies because a lot of times, again, it's mechanics, truck drivers, those type of things, that
Dispatchers.
are going on there. So, this simplicity of their operations, they want to hop in a truck, they want to drive, they don't want to think of where they got to deal with and all that kind
Hmm.
of stuff. They're just like, I'm going from this point to this point. Leave me alone. I'm in my truck. I got my music going,
Yeah.
and
They've
they're
been
just
doing
good
it
to
for
go.
40 years.
Well, exactly. Like, what do
Hmm.
what do you think, Kurt? Like,
I,
what do you
I
think is going
actually
on
had worked for a company that situation exactly happened. He was a trucker. Long story short, he was a trucker for 40 some years. He decided I can do this on my own, so he started his own trucking business, and it actually grew. He wound up growing it pretty big, and they got bought out by a larger company. But when they got bought out, that company said, "Hey, EDI is a requirement." Because they dealt with larger competitors like the really big boxes who EDI is a standard. You have to have it. So I had got a contract on that works for them, and they was just like they didn't understand it. It was they didn't understand, like I said, the monetary cost when we was going through the planning, the forecasting, how much it would cost to bring it on, and they didn't see the benefits when they were already successful without it. That was amazing. So it was a learning knowledge for them first, but then it was also like, well, look, if we want to make this merger complete, you guys got to get the EDI on board. So a lot of the big box companies, they want to. We deal with $1 million shipments. They kind of want to have a little more visibility on these things.
Well, exactly, and it's one of those things where they're going, hey, why am I doing this? You know, and typically, at least these are the people that are reaching out to me. They're like, hey, listen, you have to do this. If you don't do this, your business is gone. Because a lot of these small, like I was just talking with a gentleman who's dealing with one of the biggest delivery packages entity carriers. And he's like, hey, listen, they told me point blank, we have and own this route. We don't even have to go out to boards and, you know, try to win the deal and all those things. It's automatically, it's ours. But we need to do EDI because we need to give them an understanding of where the truck is, when's the product getting picked up, when's it going to be delivered, all of these things. So he's like, I found you on YouTube and I'm just curious, like, what's going on? I'm like, listen, if this is what you got to do, here's how you got to get it set up.
It's always shocking to me that even I feel like I have a good amount of knowledge, but a small amount. I've been doing it for just under a decade. And people I speak with, like you and other people, they've been doing it 20 plus years. I'm like, it's been around so long. And there's people who find out about it now and they're like, what is this? Like, it's brand new to them. I'm like, well, so like they to them it's brand new. And it's like, well, no, it's kind of been around for quite a while now. It wasn't a requirement, it was never a standard until like I said, now and it's trying to eliminate these errors when it comes to these shipments.
Yeah, and it's also you have to explain it to them. So what I did is I broke it down for them. Is I said, hey, now think of it this way. And we had a commonality because of both of us having kids and wives and the whole 9 yards. I said, listen, you like your Amazon packages sitting at your front door or in a safety box or whatever. Think of it this way. You want to know when that product is getting to your house. In order for them to be able to provide that information, anybody that product touches needs to give them an update of where that product sits. Once it's been picked up, where it is on the road, if it's larger product, if it's 50 miles out or 20 miles out from a warehouse, because the tow motor individual needs to know what dock they need to be sitting at to unload that truck, to do all of those things. And guess what? It's a chain.
And that's a small piece.
Yeah, it's that domino effect. Like, so they're not getting. And here's the crazy part. I also learned this the other day. A lot of your information from, and again, I'm not trying to throw countries under the bus at this point, but a lot of product comes from China. We all know this. Okay. To have that port visibility of what's leaving when the product leaves China and gets onto a ship, and from the ship to whatever port it's going to, people are asking for EDI to do that. So they're gonna ask for the last mile or the intermodal when it's moving from, when it's getting at the port, it's going on to the train or it's going on, like all these things. It's a big culmination of putting it all together. And truck drivers had to get used to ELDs, electronic logging.
Yeah, that was one that I felt that they didn't like that one. They didn't feel like I said I kind of understood them a little bit, but it's like I'm getting tracked, and it's like we're not really tracking you; they're tracking the load more than anything. And I try to break it down like that. Like, they're tracking the load, not you. You can do what you want to do like you normally do, but they just want to make sure that 10, 20, 30 million that's in that truck, is securely getting to where it has to go.
Yeah, and they're also looking at it this way: is say it's a refrigerator truck,
reefer, yeah.
A reefer. If they don't keep at a certain temperature, all of that product can go. Like all of that product that's sitting in that trailer is now no good. So think of the tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars just sitting in that one trailer, that all of a sudden that product that needed to be refrigerated is no longer good. Like I have some pharmaceutical companies, and some medicine that is out there needs to be refrigerated. It needs to stay at a certain temperature, and that's for people that get different things, cancer drugs,
insulin, things like
insulin, aid, like all these different products that are out there. So those little tidbits, and I said, hey, think of it this way. What if there was a system that you could actually put a GPS onto your trailer or into your cab, and that GPS sends a signal to a satellite, and that satellite transposes it and sends it down to a computer that receives it. And now it knows your location, and it does an auto response saying, hey, this truck is now 30 miles out from this particular location that it was supposed to be going to, because that truck has a trailer number, has all these identifiers that are in EDI. And now all of a sudden, you're not having to do anything.
Nothing.
You don't have to touch anything. All you got to do is put your butt in the seat, turn the truck on, and drive.
Because I tell my wife, if you don't like this, to do it manually. Because if they want the requirement, they say, okay, we want to know every 30 minutes or so. Some companies, like, we want to know every hour. Like, have the requirement. Are you going to manually do this? Most of them like, no. All right, so let's make it easy for both. That's how I try to break it down to them.
Well, exactly, and you can do that through API. You can do that through us technology people are the ones that have to figure that moving parts out.
Yeah.
Okay. As a smaller trucking entity, you might have to do it manually. But if you're only doing, 5, and I'm not trying to say only as a small number, but if you're doing 10, 20 loads a week, which is moving some decent product and making some decent money, and somebody says to you, I need you to do an electronic form from your iPad or cell phone, whatever it may be, well, guess what? They want that because the next people behind them, the big box retailer or the direct consumer or whoever, is saying, I want these details because we are a company, not a company, a country, I should say. Company is the wrong word. A country that literally resides on knowing information right away.
Instantly, yeah. We want to know right away. Instantly. And, like I said, with certain systems like that, you can look in and see what quantity is, and you can put these things through so much quicker than manually. So I try to explain to EDIs, and like, it's just a faster process, not replacing anything. We're just making it a little bit smoother for everybody.
We're replacing the phone calls, the faxes.
The stuff you don't want to do.
Exactly. The stuff you don't want to do it. And here's the beauty is somebody doesn't have to sit there and answer a phone. Somebody doesn't have to sit there and answer a fax. Like, look at a fax machine. Look, all these things don't have to occur if you put the proper integrated EDI system in place. And if you're not at that point yet, I get it. We'll get you a system that streamlines it as much as possible. And you have a little bit limited information that maybe you have to put in there just to send a response. But that's our job. That's my job. That's Kurt's job. That's other EDI people that are out there in the world for us to figure out how can, whatever they're asking for, how can we make it just a little bit easier for you?
I want to make it easy as possible because that's less errors for me to clear. So trust me, I want to make this easy for you. I want you to do the minimum data entry as possible. And it's crazy. I remember one time, all I need you to do is put in the delivery time. And they would just, and I get it when you move so fast. I'm like, look, guys, y'all have to do this. We're going to have to sit down and talk. Let's have to just put in delivery times and it's going to clear every error out. And they got the events. It's just like, that's all I need y'all to do. I did the much as I can up front. On the back end, I just need y'all to just enter that little bit of manual entry and we good to go.
Well, exactly. And that's the whole thing is I try to explain to them in the the consumable bytes, because this isn't going away. This is going to continue to occur. People are, you know, transportation, logistics, trucking, all these things are all connected. And as a society, we need to make them even more connected. COVID really enhanced that, because all of a sudden it was, where's our product? Where's our toilet paper? Where's our insulin?
And it was less people working, so it was less transactions being sent back and forth. Now you don't have as many, like I said, the updates is coming. We're not getting as much information as we should be, and that's where EDI flows in. With a simple
Exactly.
push of a button, you can send thousands of data of information, hundreds of data of information. Like,
yeah, and that's where we just need, you know, we need the independent truckers, large trucking companies, intermodal, whatever you are that's part of transportation logistics, to just understand that you're a big piece in the movement of product. You're a big piece in making things and taking care of people. And you just need to understand that that little EDI piece that you might be sweating and you might be like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with this. Technology drives me nuts. I can't even program a remote at my own house. Like, I can't do all these things.
We all struggle with that.
Yeah, exactly. We do all. Like, I'm glad that all of a sudden I can speak into my remote and say, you know, tell it what I needed to do. Now half the time it don't listen to me, but it is what it is. I'm used to that. I live in a house of 5 women. They don't listen to me anyway.
Yeah, I get you.
So I'm undergunned. But when it all comes down to it, it's all understanding how it all interlinks and how it all works together, and how your little piece that you're doing per load or per trip helps down the road and helps people to get that information that they need, and it leads them to understanding. So, you know, if you're just looking for a simple solution, Web EDI can handle that, like we were talking about. You streamline the data to where they have 1 or 2 fields of information, or as limited as you can. Or if you have money and you're looking to do, you know, a lot of data and a lot of loads and a lot of things, then let us figure out, how do we integrate it? How do we get those pieces to talk to each other so that really you don't have to do anything? Like, you need to do your job.
That's it.
We'll take care of the back end. You take care of the front end of worrying about keeping everybody safe on the road, keeping the product moving from one place to another, doing all these things. And that's how it's going to work. So we got a comment. Thanks for sharing on this topic. I never thought about it in the way in which you both are describing it. I wonder, does company size matter when it comes to EDI? I'm a small business owner of a uniform apparel business. I would like to grow my business using more technology that talks to my customer without using the Wix platform. So my thoughts are, when it comes to a small company, and that small company is looking to grow, EDI/automation coming from the forefront of your business is going to help you grow no matter what. Don't care your industry. Don't care what you're doing. If you can automate, and you're dealing in retail, transportation, logistics, you're dealing in a field that you can automate through EDI, API, those type of things, I think that investment will definitely allow you to grow. What are your thoughts, Kurt?
I think it gives you a one up on other businesses when you're able to present that, hey, we can process EDI data. And those larger companies look at that like, oh, they like that. It's a little more, like I said, it's more secure. They're taking on more of a risk dealing with smaller companies as a big box company. So when you can give them insurance, like, hey, I can provide the EDI data, we can send you 204, 214, those status updates, and get you 990 to get your responses back. It just, I feel like it gives you more of an advantage than a smaller company who just doesn't have that capability.
Yeah.
Now size doesn't matter. Bigger, smaller. I know I've been in some big companies that didn't have it and had to integrate it. But I just feel like it definitely gives you, as a smaller company, when you're looking to win those bids or those lows, like that's a little bit more of a plus.
Yeah, and it definitely is. And it's only going to continue as the years go on.
Mm-hmm.
More and more, it's going to become a full-blown mandate where it really is in transportation and logistics. We're seeing the flow of mandating this. You're also going to see that flow in retail. And to go back to, about the Wix platform. So Wix, some people don't know, Wix is for you to develop your own website, hosting, shop. You can do shopping carts on there. You can do all kinds of different things on the Wix platform. I don't know of anything that necessarily is built on the Wix platform for processing EDI. I don't know if there's an add-on or any of that kind of stuff. I've never, to be honest with you, I've never run across it. I know of Wix. I know what it does. I just don't know if there's an add-on for EDI processing or responses.
Yeah, I think something like that you will have to possibly have another system or another API, at least some way to work in.
Yeah.
Talk to the other person, to the other.
Yeah, exactly. To convert the data and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to, a uniform apparel business, you're definitely, even though you're small, you're definitely going to have to get into EDI. Like EDI is going to be something that's going to occur as your company grows. If you start dealing with the Cisco, or like if you're doing corporate apparel or corporate uniforms, the Ciscos of the world that put out your product and take it to a lot of companies, they're going to ask for it. If you start looking at your different vendors, wherever you're getting your supplies from, and that's the other thing that I want to explain to people is the enterprise businesses are out there, and there's a lot of businesses that focus on that enterprise. That's great and all, and every business should be focused and taken care of. The small businesses, in my mind, and I'm a small business owner, there's 10 of us. We're not huge. There's a lot of experience on my team, and I've won some pretty big clients on my list. I signed an NDA with most of the large clients. I can't share who they are, but I can just tell you they're pretty big clients. And with those clients, yes, I am fully upfront, and I tell them there's only 10 of us. But I tell them there's 10 of us with decades of experience. So you can get 100 people that maybe equal the same amount of experience that I have on my 10-person team. You might not. But on the other hand, even as in a small business and an apparel company, you need to seem bigger than what you are.
Right.
You need to put your foot forward of your experience, of what you do and who you are, so that the world knows who you are, because there's a lot of small businesses that are figuring out how to source their own products directly from, Colombia for coffee beans, or directly from China for a particular product that's being made, and now it's being white labeled underneath your business. These things are happening more and more because, again, information is readily available anymore. I don't have to know, like, Kurt, here's a perfect example. You didn't know me before any of this.
No, sir.
But the commonality brought us together, and we're talking about EDI and trying to help people. And you're in Florida, I'm in Pennsylvania. Like, we're literally hundreds, thousands of miles apart from each other. But through technology, we're able to link up and try to help people. And we're able to jump on
at that.
Yeah, and it's so my thing to the LinkedIn user, because I don't know why sometimes it doesn't show who the name is until I hop out of here, but definitely focus on you, focus on your experience, focus on what you bring to the table, focus on all of those things. Don't focus on the size of your company. Focus on what would you do to grow your company? How can you grow your company? How can you do all those things? And when it comes to transportation, logistics, like I said, you have myself here. Now you have Kurt. Reach out to Kurt. He'll be able to share his advice, his thoughts, the things that are going on out there. Kurt, any parting thoughts or things that you want to bring up and share with the world?
Not off top. When it comes to, I guess I have so much for the logistics field, transportation. Now I've been in it, it's one thing like I can keep talking on it for hours now. So I'm like, well, I'll keep it short. But it's yeah, I feel like EDI is a since I've been in it, I've always met people like yourself and who've been doing longer, and who always tell me it's never going away. And when
So
they got into it, they said people tell them the same thing, like EDI isn't going to be around long. And hey, 30 years later, it's around. So I can see 30 years later, it's still around. So it's going to be around. You may not know about it. But I feel like it is something that, like you said, it's going to be around and it's here to stay. So it help your business more than harm it.
yep, yep. Oh, we got one more real quick. At the moment, I'm using a drop ship company, fee-based, and would like to begin to take that shipping aspect over myself. For example, once the order is placed on my website, fee-based, the order is processed in the Wix store and notifications are sent. From there, subsequently, I place the order for drop ship in manufacturing, then back to Wix to notify the customer to update them on the shipping tracking information. I want the so that's getting into a whole lot more than what I want to do in this session. LinkedIn user, I will reach out to you personally. I will share my advice, and we'll probably set up a phone call.
That's all EDI right there. Too many transactions. That's 214, 204. That's a lot of information being passed back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a lot of information to share on this type of video. But Kurt,
yes, sir.
It was fun doing this session with you.
Always,
like I said, we'll talk further, see what we can do some other sessions. But you have a great day.
Yes, sir. Stay warm up there if you can. I know we.
I know. We were talking about it before we jumped on this. It's a little chilly here in Pennsylvania. I can't wait to be down in Florida.
It's coming soon.
Exactly.
All right, Joe. Talk to you soon. Have a good one.
All right. Take care, Kurt.
Take care.